Assalamu alaikum. This is Btv-Chattogram welcoming you to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the top stories. Prime Minister Tarique Rahman orders modernization of traffic management to ease congestion in Dhaka City. Working people returning to the capital as offices reopen after Eid holidays. No plan to increase oil price as government can meet demand with fuel stock, informs Energy Minister. Government to embody public expectations and spirit of July, says Home Minister. Information Minister emphasizes importance of ensuring good governance through learning and practicing history. Memory of martyr President Ziaur Rahman's declaration of independence at Kalurghat Shadhin Bangla Betar Kendra to be preserved, says Cultural Minister. "66 killed as military plane crashes with 125 on board in Colombia." NBCB announces 4-member selection panel for a national cricket team headed by Habibul Bashir Shuman. Viewers, those were the top stories. Now moving on to the details. A meeting on alleviating traffic congestion in Dhaka City and modernizing traffic management was held at the Secretariat with Prime Minister Tarique Rahman in the chair. The meeting was held at the Prime Minister's office in the Cabinet Division today. Ministers concerned and senior officials were present at the meeting. Director of the Asia and Pacific Department of the International Monetary Fund (IMF), Krishna Srinivasan, said a courtesy call on Prime Minister Tarique Rahman. The IMF official met the Premier at Cabinet Division and the Bangladesh Secretariat today. Finance Minister Amir Khusro Mohammed Chaudhry, Finance Advisor Rashid Al Mohammed Titumir, and Finance Secretary Dr. Mohammed Khairuzaman Mujumdar were present on the occasion. People have begun returning to the capital and getting back to their regular work routines after a 7-day Eid holiday. On the first working day following Eid, activities have already started in government and private offices, including the Secretariat and banks. Although attendance in office areas are relatively low in the morning, it increased gradually as the day progressed, bringing back a sense of normalcy. Banks resumed regular transactions. Both officials and customers expressed satisfaction over the smooth operations. However, some offices reported a slower pace of work despite the end of the holiday, indicating a somewhat relaxed atmosphere in these certain areas. Meanwhile, traffic pressure has risen on Dhaka's major roads, particularly at key entry points to the city where congestions were observed. As the holiday mood fades, many have returned to work with renewed energy after celebrating Eid with their families. After the Eid holidays, the Secretariat witnessed a return to work and offices became busy again. In the first half of the day, Finance Minister Amir Khusro Mohammed Chaudhry, Power, Energy and Mineral Resources Minister Iqbal Hassan Mahmood, and Health Minister Shardar Mohammed Shakwat Hussain Bokul briefed journalists. Speaking at the Secretariat briefing at the morning, Iqbal Hassan Mohammed said, despite the withdrawal of rationing, some fuel stations are still supplying limited quantities. He, however, assured that the existing stock is sufficient to meet demand and that the government has no immediate plan to increase fuel officials. Meanwhile, Health Minister Shawkat Hussain Bokul said patients received better services at hospitals during Eid. He also mentioned that the two city corporations will continue efforts to control mosquito menace. Finance Minister Amir Khusru Mohammed Chaudhry said despite global challenges, people in the country were able to celebrate Eid smoothly. He added that there was no fuel crisis during the holiday, no major disorder on the roads, and no complaint of additional fare collection was reported. Home Minister Salahuddin Ahmed said the government will embody public expectations and the spirit of July. An ordinance granting immunity to the July fighters will be adopted. He said this while speaking to journalists before a meeting of the Special Committee in Parliament today. He also mentioned that the 133 ordinances issued during the tenure of the interim government will be reviewed. The Home Minister said indemnity has been given to the July fighters and the government will accept it. He added that various institutions named during the previous government's tenure will be changed through discussion. Decisions will be made after reviewing all matters. An introductory meeting was held today at the conference room of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in the presence of Information and Broadcasting Minister Zahiruddin Shahpoon and the Prime Minister's Advisor on Information and Broadcasting, Dr. Zahidur Rahman. At the meeting, the minister welcomed the Prime Minister's advisor to the ministry, describing Dr. Zahidur Rahman as a valuable addition to the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. He hoped that with the advisor's support and collective efforts, qualitative changes could be brought to the ministry's activities. Zahidur Rahman thanked all officials of the ministry and said that a government elected with the people's mandate must work for the people, adding that the current government is committed to doing so. Highlighting the expansion of information technology and digital communication platforms, the advisor said the ministry needs to develop a new ecosystem to effectively deliver information about government services to the public. Information and Broadcasting Secretary Mahabuba Farzana delivered the welcome speech at the event. Information and Broadcasting Minister Zahiruddin Shahpoon said good governance depends on learning from the history and maintaining the continuous practice of those lessons. Government could consistently uphold and precisely practice the lessons drawn from history. He said this while speaking at the unveiling and publication ceremony of the book Fir da Kashi Shamoy, written by Debate for Democracy Chairman Hassan Ahmed Chaudhry Kiran, held in the capital today. The Information Minister further said a state can move forward on the right path only by learning from past experiences. While revisiting the past is a natural human tendency, documenting those memories and presenting them as learning materials for future generations is equally important, he added. This book analyzes the political and social context of the 10th, 11th, and 12th Jatiya Shangshad elections, which would help readers understand the country's recent political realities. The 10th parliamentary election has been widely described as one-sided at home and abroad, particularly due to the uncontested victory in 151 constituencies, raising questions about electoral acceptability when a large segment of voters did not participate. The program was presided over by former General Secretary of the National Press Club and publications publisher of the book, Syed Abdul Ahmed, National Press Club President, poet Hassan Hafiz, Bangladesh Federal Union of Journalists, BFUJ, Secretary General Qadir Goni Chaudhry, Daily Jugantar editor, poet Abdul Hai Shikdar, Bangladesh Open University Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Siddiqur Rahman Khan, and Bangladesh Editor-in-Chief and Head of News Editor Abdul Hai Siddiqui, among others, addressed the event. The book compiled 38 previously published articles, including A Blood-Stained Charter of Chance, Politics of Arrest and Shackles, City Elections, A Verdict Against Misrule, Humanity in Crisis and Public Expectations, and Voting Rights and Democracy. It also republished writings highlighting issues such as uncontested elections, alleged electoral irregularities, enforced disappearances and killings, lawsuits and crackdowns, stock market scandals, bank looting, loan fraud, tender manipulation, recruitment and admission irregularities, question paper leaks, bribery and corruption during the Awami League government period. Cultural Affairs Minister Advocate Nitai Chaudhary said that necessary measures will be taken to preserve the memory of martyred President Ziaur Rahman's declaration of independence. The minister said this while visiting the Kalurghat Shadhin Bangla Betar Kendra in the city, which is steeped in historical memories of the Liberation War. He said the Kalurghat Betar Kendra has an important history in the Liberation War. It was from where the martyred President Ziaur Rahman declared independence. The minister visited the Independence Declaration room of martyred President Ziaur Rahman and spoke to the officials of the Kalurghat Betar Kendra. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Cultural Affairs organized a painting competition and prize-giving ceremony on the occasion of Independence and National Day at the seminar hall of the city's Zia Memorial Museum in the afternoon. Cultural Affairs Minister Nitai Chaudhary was present as the chief guest. The minister said that the fascist government tried to destroy the Zia Memorial Museum due to carelessness and negligence. Initiatives will be taken to renovate it. He said Shohid President Ziaur Rahman worked sincerely for children. Cultural Affairs Secretary Muhammad Mufidur Rahman, Chattogram Divisional Commissioner Dr. Muhammad Ziauddin, City Mayor Dr. Shahadat Hussain, Deputy Commissioner Zahidul Islam Mia, and the other senior officials were present. Later, the ministry distributed prizes among the winning of the painting competition. State Minister for Information and Broadcasting Yasir Khan Chaudhary visited the Bangladesh Television Chattogram Center and exchanged views with officials. In the morning, when the State Minister arrived at the Btv-Chattogram Center, he was welcomed by senior officials. During the exchange of views, the General Manager of Btv-Chattogram Center, Imam Hussain, presented the overall matters to the State Minister. At this time, the State Minister for Information and Broadcasting provided directions on various issues, including proper utilization of manpower, providing training, modernization of equipment, and increasing advertising revenue. President of Chattogram Press Club Zahidul Karim Kochi, President of Chattogram Metropolitan Union of Journalists Muhammad Shahnawaz, News Editor of BTV Zahidul Islam, Member Secretary of JASA's Chattogram Metropolitan Committee Mamunur Rashid Shipon, along with senior officials of BTV Chattogram Center, among others, were present on the occasion. Later, State Minister for Information and Broadcasting Yasir Khan Chaudhary visited the project titled Transformation of Bangladesh Television Chattogram Center into a full-fledged center and inquired about the overall progress of the work. He instructed that the project be completed as quickly as possible. In addition, the State Minister visited various facilities of the Chattogram Center, including the studio and cafeteria. Now, international news. At least 66 people have died and dozens of others wounded after a Colombian military plane with 125 people on board crashed after takeoff in the south of the country. The Lockheed Martin-built C-130 Hercules aircraft went down on Monday shortly after it had departed from Puerto Lugoazamo near the southern border with Ecuador and Peru, strewing burning wreckage on the jungle floor. Minister of Defense Pedro Sanchez said the plane hit the ground just 1.5 kilometers away from where it took off, leading to the detonation of ammunition and setting the aircraft ablaze. He said there was no indication of an attack by illegal actors. United States-Israeli attacks have hit several cities across Iran with no signs of de-escalation, even as U.S. President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that Washington was in talks with Tehran to end the war. Iran denied any talks with the U.S. after Trump's claim of productive discussions with Iran. Iran parliament speaker said U.S. president using idea of talks to escape quagmire in which U.S. and Israel are trapped. Huge explosions were reported overnight on Tuesday in the Iranian capital, Tehran, where attacks also targeted the cities of Tabriz, Isfahan, and Karaj. Iranian media reported on Tuesday that Israeli U.S. strikes hit 2 gas facilities and a pipeline hours after Trump postponed the planned attacks on power infrastructure. The facilities in central Iran were partially damaged, added Fars, which was Iran's only news outlet to report the incident. It said an attack also hit the gas pipeline of the Karamshari power plant in the country's southwest. Local media reported that a leading scholar and professor at a science university in Tehran was killed alongside his 2 children in an attack on his residence north of the capital. Israel's far-right Minister of Finance, Bezalel Smotrich, has outraged and urged his country to annex southern Lebanon as the military has destroyed bridges and homes in an intensified assault on the area. In an Israeli radio interview on Monday, Smotrich said that the bombardment of Lebanon needs to end with a different reality entirely, which includes a change of Israel's borders. Smotrich's comments came as Israel continues to carry out deadly attacks on Lebanon, striking residential buildings and other civilian infrastructure, which the United Nations has said many amount to war crimes. In addition to airstrikes, the Israeli military has pushed deeper into Lebanese territory as part of a ground invasion that Israel said aims to root out Hezbollah fighters. The Lebanese armed group was continued to fire into northern Israel while crashing and clashing with Israel's troops on the ground in Lebanon. The Lebanese Ministry of Health said Israeli attacks have killed at least 1,039 people, including 118 children across Lebanon since early March, while 2,876 others wounded. Now, sports news. Cricket. Bangladesh Cricket Board (BCB) announced a new 4-member national selection panel appointing former captain Habibul Bashar Shuman as the chief selector. The newly formed 4-member panel is tasked with overseeing the national team's transition and performance leading up to the 2027 ODI World Cup. Habibul Bashar brings intensive experience to the role, having previously served as a national selector for both the men's and women's teams. Former pacer Hasibul Hossain Shanto has been retained in the panel, having served since September 2025. BCB also inducted 2 new members, seasoned domestic performers Naeem Islam and Nadif Chaudhary. Naeem, a domestic veteran known as Sixer Naeem, brings intensive experience with over 20,000 runs across formats and holds the national record for the most first-class centuries. Nadif Chaudhary, a former T20 international player who previously worked as an age group selector for the BCB,